What has death taught you?
Man, you're never too young to go. You're never too young to go. Everybody's always crying about, oh, we're so young. It's like, oh, you know, like that don't discriminate. Like that don't discriminate.
Welcome everyone to the Kamerie Gibson show, where we talk about transforming our pain into power. Everyone, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe this video if this video resonates with you. Today I have a special guest with me here today. His name is Sebastian. Sebastian, would you mind introducing yourself to the audience?
Yeah, so my name's Sebastian McGriff. I'm a Bay Area resident, born and raised. I've known Kamerie for a number of years. We met at a party at San Jose State, and we just kind of been following each other's journeys. You know, shooting that encouragement across the internet, seeing each other's growth. It's been a beautiful thing. So, very happy to say I'm a friend of Kamerie's.
Oh, likewise. Don't gas me.
Yeah.
No, for real. Like I told you last time we spoke, definitely have learned a lot from you. Even, like I told you, I met you when I was 19. I was 19 at that time. And I don't know if I mentioned this last time, but it always stuck with me, man. So I started smoking weed like consistently when I got to college, because I didn't have money, obviously, in high school to buy it. It's expensive. But I was smoking weed, and I think you knew I was smoking weed, and you told me we were on campus, and you were like studying, taking your classes, and you were like, you know, I'm 25 now, by the way. The brain doesn't develop until age 25, you told me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? The brain doesn't develop till 25, whatever. And you were saying to me that weed interferes with that growth, the brain development process and whatnot. And you had made the example of like, it's like somebody is like building a building with bricks. And it's like the weed is like chiming away at that like structure from being built up as it should be by smoking weed and blah, blah, blah. And I'm saying that because I smoke weed every day now, unfortunately, but I'm 25 now. You know, my brain is supposed to be fully developed, but I always just thought about that. I'm like, man, it was small, but it was still big. Like, you know, you were still conscious of the detrimental effects of smoking weed and just taking care of your body, you know? So what made you like get into that, industry per se of health?
Yeah, I think it was really just dealing with my own health. So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I have Crohn's disease, which essentially is like ulcers in your gut and intestine. I have ulcerative colitis too. It's like a double whammy. But I got that in high school, and it honestly altered like the whole course of my life. Like I nearly dropped out of high school. Like they had me on hella pills every day. Like it really messed with every aspect of my life dealing with this illness. And no one knew how to help me. Like the doctors were like, just keep taking your pills, you'll be fine. And my coaches and people I looked up to, because I was a 3-sport athlete, like they didn't know how to help me either. They're just like, hey, listen to your doctors, man. Like, you know, come back when you're healthy. Because I had a real bright future in sports. I was a 2-sport letterman by the time I was a sophomore. And so to go from, Sebastian's the next up, to Sebastian can't even come to school, it was a trip. And that just totally shifted my focus. I was like, I never want to feel like this again. I'm going to invest in health. I'm going to invest in my knowledge. I ended up making a mini comeback my senior year. I took a weight training class, and I had a strength coach who actually had a degree in biology. He used to talk to us about the human body all the time. I was like, bro, what are you talking to us about? Like, it's a PE class. Like, why are you giving us tests? Like, I don't care about this stuff. Like, I'm here to get strong, bro. Like, why are you giving us written tests in PE? And he just really wanted us to make sure that we knew our bodies, we knew what was happening. And when I got to college, I said, you know what? I think I want to study that. I think I want to learn a little bit more. And so through my own experiences, through kind of stepping into college and seeing it from a scientific point of view, not just like I want to look good or I want to feel good. It was like, wait, what's actually going on? once you start to learn a little bit, I just wanted to dig deeper and dig deeper. And that's kind of what got me to where I am today.
That's like the definition of transforming like a painful situation into like a powerful situation. Because now you're able to, and you did, like I shared my story with you, liberate other people from, I would say, if you didn't seek out that information, you would have been beholden to what your coaches said, your doctor said, and so would your life have been. But you took the initiative to go out and seek and pursue and overcome. How did you even develop those diseases, though? Do you know where the root of them came from?
That's where it gets a little tricky. So it is genetic. It's an autoimmune disorder, and it's triggered by stress. Some people get it. Some people under a lot of stress and never get it, but have all the genetic markers for getting it, which is weird because no one in my family has it. It's just me. So when they said it was genetic, I was like, I don't know. So my mom and my grandma both have autoimmune disorders, which are kind of like cousins. But it's just one of those things where you just never know. I will say, like, the end of my sophomore year, I was under a lot of stress. I had two of my best friends die in car accidents. And I was just under a lot of stress. Like, I was hyperventilating every time I got in the car. I just kept thinking, like, about them all the time. And back then, like, the mental health conversation isn't what it is today. Everybody was like, just deal with that shit, bro. Like, we all lost them too. Like, just deal with it. But I don't think people understood, like, the brother relationship that I had with these two guys. And they were both older than me. One was 18 and the other was 22. And I just looked up to them so much. I mean, they had really taken me under their wing in ways I think a lot of people don't understand or know. And when they passed away, I didn't know what to do. I was trying to lean on people, and I just felt like no one was there. And I said, you know what, let me just stick my nose in the ground and keep working at this sports thing. And I started to notice my body wasn't responding the same way. I couldn't perform. I was feeling tired. I was losing muscle. And I'm very in tune with my body, so I started going to the doctor, telling them something was wrong. For 6 months, they waved me off. They told me that I was just a high school kid who didn't eat right, and that I was tripping for 6 months. I was in the doctor every month, and finally, like, a nurse looked at me and said, "You've been coming in here once a month for 6 months with the same stuff." I said, "Yeah." She said, "I think I'm gonna order some blood tests. Like, there's something wrong. I think we need to check something out." Like, okay, and that's when I got my diagnosis. But I was really in tune with my body, doing wrestling, having to cut weight, monitoring every food I put in my body. It really was like, and on top of that, wrestling, I developed an eating disorder through wrestling too. And so I was dealing with eating disorder on top of the stress, on top of losing my friends, on top of, you know, trying to just stay straight A's and a top student, a top athlete. I thought I was going to UCLA. I was like, oh, look, you know, I'm going to get offers. Like, my life projection is like through the roof. Who knows what I can do? But I didn't view it in a positive way on the inside. On the inside, it was like a heavy burden. Like, I was just trying to carry and push through it every day and trying to make people around me proud, as opposed to like really doing that for myself. And I think all that stress caught up to me. I can't say like it was my fault for sure. Like, you just can't put that on yourself. But, you know, it really changed who I am as a person, I think, for the better.
Thank you for sharing that. I didn't know that from our last conversation. So that definitely tells me a lot about how strong you are. Even stronger. I already knew you were strong. But I don't really hear about men talking about having eating disorders. I know I had, and still kind of do struggle with that. So I had, have a whole bunch of like vitamin deficiencies and stuff, just not like I struggle just with eating, period. Like I have to be told, like, hey, did you eat, you know, and just losing a whole bunch of weight because of that. Even in high school, middle school, I've always been on a diet. I would throw up my food because I wanted to be, you know, under 100 pounds and stuff. So what is it like though for like guys who struggle with that? Like what was it like for you being a man? And
yeah, I think for me, it was a combination of like my coaches. My coaches saying, you know, don't eat all day, just sip some water. And then we come in, we're grinding out in practice, and then they're like, all right, go home, eat some light. So I eat a snack bar all day. And I come to practice, we work out hard. And these are the kind of wrestling practices where you step on scale before practice, you step on scale after practice. You lost 5-6 pounds of water weight. Which for people in the health industry, if you're 200 pounds, you're not supposed to lose more than 4 pounds. And we were like 140 pounds, 150 pound high school kids. We're losing like 6-8 pounds of water, and we're bragging about it to each other. Oh man, look how much weight I lost. Like, yeah, we're going to stay down. Like, and it wasn't healthy. And they have laws against that now. Like, kids can't do that now, or else they get kicked out of tournaments. But back then it was they were kind of starting to do some rules on it. But yeah, just not eating, working out, overworking out, always checking your body, always feeling like I need to look better. I need to be better. I need to make my coaches happy. And I started to associate the hunger feeling with a positive thing. So I was like, oh, I'm hungry. I'm doing it right. That's how I'm supposed to feel. I used to buy the dessert flavored gum, and I would just chew on that all day. Like, I'm not hungry. And I go through like a pack every few days, just chewing, trying to distract myself from how I was feeling. So I know for other guys, it's, you know, trying to look big or trying to look buff, keeping their body fat down. But yeah, it definitely affected me from a young age. So I can relate to women in that sense of struggling with food.
yeah, I'm sure that it's a siren outside. It's gonna mess with my audio. I'm sure that pressure to be a certain weight, to be a certain size, to look a certain way, it has like pretty severe psychological effects. Like you said, you acquired a disease. People acquire all types of diseases, heart attacks, cancers, all type of stuff from outside pressures about how we should look. What misconceptions do people have that stick out to you the most, that you feel like we have to dismantle this notion about what health is, how we should go about it? So just being in that arena, what do you know for sure we have to like say, no, that's a myth. We have to do this instead.
Yeah, I think like this whole notion of fat, like everyone has fat, like ain't nobody 0% body fat. Like, that's just it's not an attainable goal. It's not an attainable number. And women, to be healthy, need twice as much body fat as men to be healthy. But they're held to a standard that men aren't even held to, and it's crazy. Like, I think we need to shift the focus on looking a certain way around fat to doing things. So, yeah, we need to change our mentality from looking this way, because guess what? There's a lot of skinny people that don't work out at all. They're not healthy. Like, that's not really like a healthy thing. Like, yeah, you look great, but you don't work out. Yeah, like, how do you feel? Like, that's what really matters. I mean, I know 25-year-olds who got chronic back pain. Like, you're too young to have chronic back pain. Like, what are you doing? Or neck pain. Like, people in their 40s, I still tell people in their 40s, you're too young to be having chronic pain. They're like, Sebastian, I'm living with this for 10, 12 years. What do you mean I'm too young? But we need to change the conversation to movement. What are you doing to move every day? What are you doing for your body every day? You know, I use the example like, well, we got to brush our teeth. Like, brush your teeth every day, right? You want a good smile, you brush your teeth every day. Same thing with like moving, like get your body moving, go for a walk, you know, lift a little bit of weights. Like it doesn't have to be a whole 1 hour workout, but what type of movement are you doing? So we need to change the categories from fat and skinny to movers and non-movers. Because I know a lot of fat people that call themselves fat, that I'm like, bro, like you're moving, man. I don't care what you look like, bro. Like you're doing all the right things for your body. It's going to be a while before it kicks in. But right now, I consider you healthy. And that's all you can really ask for out of anybody. You know, what are you doing today to be healthy? As opposed to what can you look like? How many pictures can you take? Like, that's a ridiculous standard.
As a personal trainer, how much of the work is motivation and adjusting your client's mental state towards their health and their body?
That's a great question. I say the first 10% you put in is like, for most people, it's 100% motivation. The first 10%, it's a motivation to be different. It's a motivation to change your life. It's a motivation to do something that you haven't done before, or get back into something that you've done before but need to get back to. That first 10% is like all motivation. What people fail to realize is they think the whole journey is going to be motivation. They think the whole journey is like, we're just gonna feel good and want to do this and push through it, and that's not the journey at all. And once you burn out your 10% motivation, you're stuck with 90%, and you're like, well, I'm not motivated anymore, so I'm gonna leave this 90% on the table. Mm-hmm. And for me as a trainer, my job is to help people convert that motivation into discipline. And that's the hallmark of a good trainer is, can you help someone be good for themselves? I tell all my clients, day one, I'm training you to not need me. If you want to keep working with me, once we hit your goal, great. But I'm training you to say, hey, look, Sebastian, we're going to get to a point where I don't need you anymore. And that's perfectly fine. Like, that's my goal as a trainer, is to get you to a point where your discipline outweighs your motivation. Like, you're not going to feel good every day. You're not going to want to do it every day. But you should be doing something every day. And my goal as a trainer is to put enough tools in your toolbox to where you're like, you know what? I'm supposed to hit squats today. My leg's not feeling it. I didn't get enough sleep. I didn't get enough food. I'm not feeling good. All right, so what can you do? I can do some air squats. I can, you know what? Let me hit the stairs in my apartment, 3-4 times. All right, boom, that's your leg day.
I've been thinking about like different people's jobs and whatnot, and I thought about yours as a personal trainer. You're doing spiritual healing work. You're actually a healer, and I'm saying that because not only are you, well, primarily you're getting people to change their way of thinking, and a lot of times when people have been accustomed to eating dead, devitalized foods that are not full of life, it's hard for us to even think clearly to make decisions that are gonna keep us around longer, So that's a portion of it. And then also getting people to go back, not to something that they don't know, because we're of the earth. When we die, we're gonna get back into the earth, So absolutely. I feel like you're actually bringing people back home to themselves by getting people to move their bodies, by getting people to eat better and be more intentional about how they take care of themselves. So I just wanted to add that, like, you're doing the Lord's work. You're doing spiritual healing work in and of itself. But also I wanted to go back to that dark place you were in. Mm-hmm. So I didn't experience a lot of loss and death until I got older, like in my college years. Mm-hmm. And I know from that, it definitely has matured me a lot sooner than I would have liked it to. It's definitely given me a different perspective. I wanted to ask you in regards to your brothers passing away in that car crash, and anybody else that may have passed away since then, what has death taught you?
Man, you're never too young to go. You're never too young to go.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's always crying about, oh, they were so young. It's like, oh, you know, like that don't discriminate. Like that don't discriminate. And I think I really struggled with for a long time. I really, you know, had back and forth with God. Like, how could you take me, God? Like, they had the whole lives in front of me. I was frustrated. I didn't go to I didn't go to a memorial for anyone over the age of 22, 21 until I hit 23. And then my mentor passed away. He was 80 something, 80. And that was one of the first times as a young adult that I experienced death for an older person. Because I had just been seeing my friends and people that I was close with kind of falling off. And you're never too young to go. You got to take the moment that you have and use it. I think so many people are trying to numb themselves to the moment, trying to numb themselves to right now, and you can't do that because you may not have right now. You may not have it, right? And there's no take backs. Like there's no, oh, I'm gonna do this tomorrow. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. It's like, okay, well, you know, tomorrow turns into 4 years from now. Like, where did the time go? You don't know if you're gonna still be here. I think we take time for granted. At the same time, it is important to plan ahead. It is important to take care of your future self. But by taking care of your future self, you need to be responsible with today. And I think a lot of people use this young mentality or this youth, this invincible mindset, this YOLO, to be irresponsible with today. And that's just not the way you should go about it. You need to be responsible with every day. It's a gift. That's the present. And what I can honestly say about my two friends that passed away young, they died in two separate car accidents a month apart. One of them has spent his entire high school career partying, being the man. Like, he had a college scholarship to California State, Bakersfield. And it was the only school that would offer it to him. And he should have had way more for wrestling. He should have been like a top wrestler. But he just didn't have the discipline. He was like, I'm the man. Like, what do I need to try hard for? Party. And then he got caught cheating on a geometry test. Like, bro, you're a senior in geometry. You shouldn't be cheating on tests. And that's what blew up his college opportunity and caused him to sit back and reflect on life. And I'll be honest, like, his last 12 months of life, he really took responsibility for every day. But that was after 17 years of life being epic. Now, on the other hand, my other brother, he was 22 when he passed away. Not talented. Had to grind, had to work hard for everything he got. Got a big scholarship. He worked so hard for it. Had grinded his way through college, was going to Fullerton, was a month away from graduating. And when he passed, everyone, the only thing they could say about him, man, he was working every day for everything he had. Like, this was a guy who was inspiring. And, man, his 22 years, like, he wasted nothing. And to see the, not really contrast, but just to know the difference in how they live made a huge impact on me at 15, 16. To say, okay, I'm going to carry the memory on. You know, I'm going to carry the last 12 months of my brother's life, and I'm going to carry the other 22 years of my other brother's life, and take that with me every day. Mm-hmm. So be responsible with the day, because you don't know what you have tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. You're so wise. How did your upbringing shape you as a human and shape your perspective on life?
Yeah. Man, so I got two parents of color who are both first generation college students. Both raised in military families. So they don't take it. They don't take excuses. They don't take excuses. We were in a very like work hard family. Education was always taught to me as this is the ladder. This is what's going to help you become a better version of yourself. And on top of that, like we're a God-fearing family. So both my parents didn't grow up Christian. They actually, I think they both grew up not liking Christians. But both of them in their mid-20s became followers of Christ and made a decision like this is how we're going to raise our kids. So that was kind of like the backbone to my mentality, to like everything I did was not for my parents, but just this higher sense of like there's something bigger out there for me. Like there's something I'm held accountable to, bigger than my parents, bigger than getting whooped. Like there's some serious things here, and I don't know whether it's being the firstborn or what, but that just stuck with me more. And I know it doesn't stick with everybody. For me, that's something I took very seriously from a young age, and trying to set the example for my brothers. You know, I love my brothers to death, but they can be knuckleheads. So I had to be like, you know how it is, like
Yeah, I do.
being the smart presence in the family, like trying to set the example.
It's lonely, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
What's his name off of Good Times? It's the light-skinned dude. It's him. He's like that person like us in the family. Not, I'm not gonna say we special, but we special. Like the special ones know that it's something, right? Like you be knowing, like real young, like, but like I said, it's lonely. It's lonely as well, like because you feel like, damn, is there something wrong with me? But it's like you just haven't found your tribe. You haven't had that conversation with the right person yet to be like, oh nah, we here. Like I see you, you know. Like, how did you know? When did you know you were special?
Oh man, dang, probably my freshman year of high school. Freshman year, that's when I knew. I stepped on a high school campus, like really. I was really afraid, honestly, of high school. I was like, oh man, I'm gonna get beat up, I'm gonna get whooped, this and that. Like, my next door neighbors were 2 years older than I was. And so we played basketball all the time. So I knew guys who were all older than me, juniors, seniors, graduated, and they would whoop on me. Right? It was my driveway, so I could leave. And I thought that's what high school was going to be like. So the last 6 months of my 8th grade year, I was doing like 300 push-ups and sit-ups a night, just trying to get myself like ready for. I was on some prison like get your body right, you know, get your mental right, and then when I got to campus, I just looked around. I saw a lot of undisciplined people. I saw a lot of people carrying around like that senior title with no work behind it, and I just laughed at them. I'm like, so you really think you're better than me because you can, you know, because you date girls and can drive cars? Like, that ain't nothing, bro. And I was dumb enough. This is where I knew I was like special because I was dumb. To say that to their face. I was saying that to their face, and I was getting beat up in practice for it. And I'd come back right back the next day and say it again. And then I was like, bro, why am I... Like, I just saw the game. Like, I just saw it as, like, this is stupid. Like, why do you think you're special? You're not special. So, and I think that was from a young age, that, like, 14 years old. And, like, kind of starting to look at my wrestling coaches, it's like, oh, you're just, like, these versions of these 18-year-olds that never left. Okay, I'm not impressed by you either. So when I started looking at adults eye to eye, I was like, all right, I'm special. Like, not everyone's doing this. Like, I feel like I'm seeing things that other people aren't. But I think at some point I realized, like, oh, I don't have the experience behind it either. Like, I can see it, but I don't have the lived experience to really be saying everything I'm saying. So, you know, that'll put
I like that. Yeah, very self-aware. You are. You could tell you have been. When did women start like becoming like a factor for you then? Since that wasn't the case freshman year, when did you start to care?
Like women, like dating women?
Dating, yeah, seriously. Taking them seriously.
Yeah, probably like after high school, 18, 19.
18, 19.
19, 20. Yeah, probably like the second year of college when I started dating girls. Because in high school, I was like, oh yeah, let's go to Red Robin. Knowing I could get bottomless fries. You know, I didn't have to pay too much for food. I'm like, oh yeah.
What's wrong with that?
It's nothing. I was saving money. I wasn't taking it serious.
Wait, so you're saying that saving money was you not taking the woman that you're dating seriously? That's where you were at in life. That's why I'm saying that.
No, it was a smart move. It was just I was trying to take a different girl every week.
All right. Okay.
When I graduated, then I was like, all right, I need to like figure myself out a little bit here. And then when I got sick, I wasn't taking anybody out.
Right. Yeah.
That humbled me real quick. I was like, well, you had to get in check.
No.
So
I asked that because you just seem like you have so much in your head and your cabeza. Like, how do you even, like, you know? Since then, you're in your late or mid 20s.
Yeah, I'm 26.
So you're older than me. What? I thought you were way older than me.
No,
you're just like me. just like me. How is dating for you now? My last interview, we were talking about like how we just feel like men our age just aren't on the same page as us as far as like, you know, where we want. And I was telling her that I've been hearing from older women that we should be dating men 7 years older than us just because of where we are, like mentally. Some of us, not all women are mature, let's be real. But what do you think about dating as a 26-year-old man today?
Yeah, shoot, man, everyone under 25 isn't worth dating, male or female. I think that's the general rule. It's like you haven't experienced enough life yet to really know yourself and take things seriously. I think now, and this is different for everybody. Like some people really figure themselves out, you know, and find someone else that's really figured themselves out. And I think the key is just being like open for that person to change and like grow with them. Like you have to have a mentality of like, this is someone I can grow with. For me, like what I really look for in dating is like, can I be inspired by a woman? Like, can she have a spirit that inspires me? Like, oh, I want to have that in my life. I think so many times people approach dating as like a possession thing. It's like a monetary game. Can I have this person? Have this? It's like, bro, it's not an object. Like, and it goes both ways. Like guys do it, women do it. Can I have that person? Man, they look good. Man, they have that job. Man, they drive that car. Have them. Or man, she looks incredible. Man, she goes to the gym. Can I have them? And it's really not about anybody having anybody. It's about being there for somebody. It's about being there for yourself. It's about doing things that inspire you and that inspire somebody else. That might work out. But I think when you're young, you're just so concerned with like, all right, who can I look good with? Like, yeah, all right. Who's doing who's doing things I want to be a part of? Okay. And those type of relationships, at least in my experience, like don't go very far. They don't last long.
You're so right. No, you're so right. Because when I thought about it too, I'm like, I made a video the other day and I was like, as women, I'm saying myself, like, I do think some men do mature fast, like slower than us. And it's like knowing that, why would I try and force something that has to evolve as it will? And I can't expect another person to grow at the rate in which I need them to grow so that they can be right where I need them to be. Like, no, like you said, either be patient. If you want this person a part of your life, you can do that. I still think that's risky. Or you can find someone who's right there at the same time as you. You know, it's up to you. But for the most, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you.
But yeah, last question for you was, what would you tell the younger Sebastian with the wisdom that you have now to do differently?
the wisdom I had now, and this is something I've really taken to heart within the last 2 months, probably even within the last time we talked, is just have grace with yourself. Just have grace. Everything's going to happen that needs to happen. You know, don't beat yourself up or try to force things. You're going to meet the right people at the right time. Don't stress with where you're at. Just enjoy it. Like, have grace in those moments for yourself.